To really find out Choso grade level, we'll have to analyze who did Choso fight and how did they stack up against each other, and how does he stack up against them. Choso's fight against Yuji Itadori was a major stepping stone in his development as a character and as a combatant. Choso's initial appearance against Yuji was a pivotal point for both characters. For Choso, this was more than just a battle, it was a clash of ideologies and identities. This can be vividly seen in the chapters during their fight at Shibuya. Choso initially looks down on Yuji as just another human to kill, but as their fight progresses, he starts to see the strength and resolve of Yuji. For example, Yuji's ability to dodge and counter Choso's blood manipulation technique took him by surprise, even while fighting with one arm, forcing Choso to reassess his opponent. This change in perspective can be noted when Choso begins to see Yuji as a brother, showing that the fight has, although unconsciously, impacted his viewpoint. This also foreshadows Choso's potential alliance with Yuji in the future. Choso's confrontation with Naoya presents a unique challenge, forcing him to adapt to his fighting style. His battle against Naoya is markedly different from his previous encounter, presenting him with a fresh set of challenges that put his ability to the test. Naoya's speed and agility put Choso on the defensive right from the start. In the chapters, there's a moment where Naoya almost effortlessly dodges Choso's piercing blood technique. The intriguing cat and mouse game kept me at the edge of my seat. That fight added a new layer to Choso's complexity as a fighter. Not only did he have to adapt to Naoya's unique speed and agility, but he also had to improvise his own blood manipulation techniques, turning the tide of the battle. These demonstrate that Choso is not a one-trick pony. He can adapt and strategize according to specific demands of the fight. Now, it seems that each confrontation served as a stepping stone, revealing more about his capabilities and character while also setting the stage for what's to come. Choso's showdown with Kenjaku is a pivotal moment that tested the combination of his skills and growth as a fighter. The battle with Kenjaku was like any other Choso has faced. Kenjaku wasn't just another opponent to defeat. He was fighting his father, the man who rejected him, and his brothers for 150 years. Right from the onset, Choso has his back against the wall. Kenjaku's prowess and curse techniques presenting an immediate threat, forcing Choso to rely only on blood manipulation abilities, but also his tactical acumen. There was a riveting moment where Choso employed an advanced form of his bursting blood, aiming to restrict Kenjaku's movement, but Kenjaku countered with a sophisticated curse technique, making it evident that this fight was leagues above his earlier skirmishes. Choso employed a complex blend of his blood manipulation techniques. Early on, when he understood the limitation of his bursting blood against Kenjaku counters technique, Choso shifted to use it conversions, a technique that requires precise control of blood to create lethal needles. By mixing long-range bursting blood and close-range conversions, he created a dynamic ebb and flow in the fight, forcing Kenjaku to adapt constantly, even though it didn't really seem like he was sweating. What's more was Choso's emotional determination, which was palpably amplified due to his brothers. His conviction was not just to win for himself, but also to honor the memory and legacy of his brothers. Gege illustrated it beautifully. There was a moment as a flashback of his brother appearing right after Kenjaku landed a heavy blow, serving as a motivational jolt for Choso. Instead of faltering, he clenched his fists tighter and his blood manipulation techniques intensified, reaching new heights. He was able to reach Kenjaku sitting on the tree just by manipulating his blood. He even verbalized it, declaring that his strength is drawn from his ties with his brothers. And it is a poignant scene. You can almost feel Choso channeling his brother's strength as he redoubled his efforts. The power of familial bond against his father became an intangible yet undeniable factor, adding an extra layer of intensity to this fight. Choso's battle against Kenjaku served as a multifaceted proving ground. His versatile combat technique and heightened emotional determination are the crucible through which he not just contends with Kenjaku, but also substantiates his growth as a fighter. The amalgamation of this eloquent showcase, the pinnacle of his combat abilities and emotional growth up to this point. Choso's opponents are a litmus test for his abilities, each representing a unique challenge that demonstrated his fighting prowess and tactical acumen. To truly gauge Choso's fighting abilities, we need to analyze how his opponent ranked against each other. Yuji Naoya and Kenjaku are not just some random encounters, but strategically important benchmarks in his character's arc. His combat intelligence and relentless spirit made him an opponent not to be taken lightly. Yuji used his divergent feast and innate agility to push Choso to his limits, compelling the latter to innovate in his technique on the fly. It was a battle where Choso has the upper hand in terms of technique, but learned not to underestimate sheer willpower. On the other hand, Naoya Zennin brought an entirely different set of challenges. Adept at using the Zennin family's curse techniques, Naoya's speed and agility present an agile contrast to Yuji's brute strength. Choso needed to be more defensive and tactical, focusing on counterattacks rather than aggressive initiation. Kenjaku was the pinnacle of these challenges, not only in terms of fighting skill but also in psychological warfare. He is his dad, so his manipulative tactics and superior curse techniques made him a wall that Choso needed to at least overcome mentally. So the diversity in these fights showcased Choso's ability and resourcefulness. Against Yuji, Choso had to adapt to his bursting blood techniques to counterattack the unpredictable nature of diversion feasts. Against Naoya, Choso found his footing through calculated defense, counteracting Naoya's agility with his own curse technique. Finally, in his fight against Kenjaku, Choso amalgamated everything he had learned, demonstrating an evolving fighting style that incorporated elements of both offense and defense. He employed a diverse array of blood manipulation techniques to counter Kenjaku's advanced curse technique and psychological tactics. Moreover, each fight pushed Choso to tap into deeper emotional reservoir. His battle with Yuji provoked an introspective realization about kinship. His clash with Naoya reignited his sense of pride and heritage. And lastly, his confrontation with Kenjaku served as a nexus for all these experiences, tying them up together into a coherent narrative of growth and evolution. And in terms of ranking, while Yuji brings willpower to the table, Naoya delivers in agility and tactical prowess. But it's Kenjaku who combined both, along with a massively more mature psychological element. Over 1,000 years. This makes Kenjaku the highest ranked opponent that Choso has faced. So when asking the question, how strong is Choso, it becomes evident that while he may not at all surpass Kenjaku, he's shown consistent growth that brings him even closer to that level. He just needs about 150 more years.